Hey everyone, a couple of Raiders fans, or maybe it was the same Raider fans with different names and different platforms, said, who's Zennie Abraham and why should we listen to him? Well, I'll tell you who I am as to why you should listen to me. That's your decision. But for the purpose of the matter of stadium in Oakland for the Raiders, my background is I have an undergraduate and a master's degree from the University of Texas at Arlington and University of California at Berkeley in urban planning. My focus was in urban economics. My first job out of grad school in 1987 was with the Oakland Redevelopment Agency as an intern. I worked for Jeff Chu and Austin Penny. My assignments were first I had to find large and small pipes for the purpose of clearing land for a price club across the way from the Coliseum. My second one was similar. I had to create an economic argument at the request of assistant city manager Ezra Rapport, who was the same person who crafted the deal to bring the Raiders back from Oakland to Oakland from Los Angeles. He wanted me to create from whole cloth an economic argument why there should not be a wet weather storage facility at a place where I-880, 580, and the Bay Bridge entry and exit way meet. I did so, created the tax revenue calculations, everything. Where that is where Home Depot in Emeryville and Hotel and Best Buy are located today. My other assignment, my largest one, was to create the fiscal calculations, including tax increment revenues for something called the Coliseum Redevelopment Area. So I developed from scratch a computer model called the Area Redevelopment Economic Model using Lotus 123 at the time. That was 1987 going to 88. I was asked to do something that I considered unethical. I won't go into detail here. So I asked to have my contract restructured, and after a year I went out and created my own economic consulting firm. My first client was the Erie Road Development Agency, whose new director was Kofi Bonner, who I went to graduate school with at Berkeley. I developed a specialization in doing what's called tax increment finance calculations. I then went on to be, at the behest of Alameda County Supervisor Keith Carson on the Alameda Base Reuse Committee. Then I thought there were things going on that I didn't quite like, so a friend of mine who worked for Keith said, hey, you should write a column for a newspaper. And make a long story short, the Montclarian wound up hiring me as a whole cloth as a columnist. I had no training in media journalism. Chris Treadway who was the editor at the time, the Montclarian, gave me a crucible within which to learn the craft of writing. So, according to Monty Poole, the Tribune, then, I broke the story that the Raiders returned from Los Angeles to Oakland. Then, in 1995, going to 96, then Oakland Mayor L.U. Harris made me an offer. He invited me to be his economic advisor. I was hired December 17th of 1995. Worked for him from 95 through 99, and during that period, among other things, I established a terrific relationship. I already had it with him, but just developed with Al Casal. He was the executive assistant to the Oakland Raiders. And with him, we worked to revive the 49er Raider preseason games. I also got to know a gentleman that Mr. Locasal told me was being groomed by the National Football League to be commissioner. His name was Roger Goodell. In 1999, to make another long story short, I was tapped to head the effort to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland. We lost by 8 NFL owner votes in late 2000 to Jacksonville for the right to host the 2005 Super Bowl. After that, in fact, Jerry Brown tried to fire me because I accused him of being racist. I said, you can't fire me, I quit. Went out on my own, didn't know what I was going to do. After a year, I started a new company called Sports Business Simulations, based around a game that I made, 2 games. One called the XFL Sim World, the other the Oakland Baseball Sim World, or the Oakland Athletics Micro World, where you could actually run the business of the A's online. I did something very stupid, a cautionary tale for anybody in the startup community. Do not learn an esoteric programming language, as I did, and build a platform or company off of it. I did that. But SBS still survives to this day, just without the game component because of issues we had with real business simulations. But at the same time, I also established a keen interest in digital communications, and in particular video blogging, and went to my first VloggerCon or convention in 2007. I had gotten to know a number of people, and to make another long story short, YouTube made me a partner. So I was a YouTube partner. And just even before that, the NFL, after seeing the way that the city of Oakland treated me, basically allowed me to cover the NFL draft. I was the first to bring a live stream to the NFL draft in 2007. Prior to that, first to write an internet-based account of what it was like to be at the draft. That was in 2005. And in 2006, first to cover it with a YouTube channel. I made more YouTube videos of the NFL draft than any other single person or media outlet over that time. Now, the game that I made, the Oakland Athletics Micro World, as we came to call it, was used in up to 40 high school and college classrooms over an 8-year period. You could actually run the business days, including building stadiums. We had all stadium calculations. You could try all kinds of different financing combinations. So that really formed the basis for what I got involved in later with respect to Mark Davis and the Raiders. Now, over that period of time, I was on CNN nationally, and what became the core of my media business grew. I established a blog network, Oakland's first blog, Oakland Focus, and then took Zennie Zeitgeist, which is one of the first blogs to cover the Democratic National Convention back in 2008, and redeveloped it into something called Zennie 62, and that became the focus of my new branding. And so I established a corporation called Zennie 62 Media in 2010. So by then, I had developed a blog network, which now consists of 90 blogs, 6 YouTube channels, and been on CNN nationally many times over the years, as well as a number of other places. And I've made now over 8,600 YouTube videos. So that's, in a really brief nutshell, where I sit now with respect to the Raiders. When I worked for Elihu, he said you have a freedom of everything from redevelopment to the Raiders. And under Elihu, it was my job to monitor legislation that had to do with the Raiders, our Raider issues, to negotiate with the teams, including with the A's and Andy Dolich when he represented the A's. I ran the gamut. And so that's how I came to where I am today. And with respect to Mark Davis last year, actually, when I first met Mark Davis, it was at the NFL owners meeting at Buckhead 2 years ago, where he said to me first, hey, I have $400 million for the stadium, and I put that out as a video blog. Now it's $500 million. And then last year at the NFL Spring League meeting in San Francisco, he then said, hey, you come up with a stadium plan. And that's how I got involved in all this mess. So that's who I am in a nutshell. As to why you should listen to me, if you don't want to listen to me, that's your choice. Hey, all I say to Raider fans is this. The power is within you to save this organization and keep it in Oakland. Establish your plans. Stop this fighting among yourselves. Join together. Make things happen. You can do it. Other fan bases have. There's no reason why you can't.